the speakers will have the full time allotted. But if you don't need the full time, we'd appreciate it a little bit less. Okay, 4 speakers. First one really does not need introduction, right? As you've gathered from previous talks, we include pawpaws and persimmons with the tree nuts. So next talk, the title is Persimmon, Zone 4B Hardiness Project by Buzz Ferver.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Is that good? How we doing? Okay, so those of you who know me know that, well there we go, ooh, that's nice. Dr. Sandy loaned me this. So I live in Vermont in Zone 4B. They've changed it just recently to 5A, but it's a lie. We are, well, as we go through the talk, you'll see we have some climate challenges to the things I want to grow. So I love persimmons. I've always loved them. Once I started eating the really good persimmons, it was really bad, and so I've been somewhat obsessed. So this is a bed of 1,000 persimmon seedlings. And you know, they look like they're the same. At my farm, every stake is provenance where they came from. So they're always cultivar. I almost always only grow 90 chromosome because they're such amazing fruits to eat, and I'm addicted to them. We have several problems. One is our normal cold in a normal winter is 25 below Fahrenheit. Apologies to the Canadians for I can't give you that number. The other big problem that you're going to see in a moment, the next slide. Can we kick the next slide? Okay, the other problem that we have is we can often go in late September, early October from 40s and gorgeous weather, lovely blue skies, to 17 degrees. And so that's that same bed of 1,000 persimmons. That's 3 years later. And this is right after, this is probably October. I think the date's coming up on one of the next slides, but you'll see that tremendous damage, right? And this is, I have another slide which will say what happens the day after we hit this. And these plants, because they're not from Zone 4, they still think it's time to grow. So the last flush, the July-August flush, is still pushing when we get to late September, early October. And so they haven't hardened off at all. And so, of course, they turn black, curl up and die. And, of course, all that foliage dies. So it's very common to have 95% of the persimmons I grow fry in that fall before we even get to the 25 below winter. This one here, you can see that it has some damage, but compared to all the others, this is one of my cold rock stars. Now this one hasn't made the final highest cut, but it's in the top 100 plants. This plant here, and there's a couple others you can see hidden in and amongst here that have made this cut too. Next slide. Yeah, you can't see this too well, but there, as you look down through here, you'll see there's maybe a dozen plants that are seriously better looking out of that 1,000. I've been saying all along that my first cut is about 1%. I'm at 35,000 cultivar mother persimmon seedlings that have seen 3 test winters and 3 hideous fall freezes. We'll talk about how many plants I have in this current evaluation. I have another 25 or 30,000 seedlings that haven't seen enough test winters yet for me to say what they're like. Last winter was a major aberration. We only saw 0. So everybody looks like so good this year. It's like very, very heartening, but I want test winters. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is September 19th, 2020. It was 17 degrees. And you can see everything fried. This, of course, we can't see the detail, but there's like one there, and there's like some green right in here, green here. And so those are the ones that get a tag. And then after the winter time, if it's 25 below, so we may get another tag. So I'm looking for plants that get multiply tagged, and they get moved into the permanent hardy orchard. Next slide. So you see this, right? This particular batch came from Donald Compton. He sent them to me, unfortunately, as, oh, this would make great rootstock. Thankfully, his whole orchard's awesome. But so I had a huge survival of in this one patch. You can see over here, there's like nothing green. So a lot of those have made it into my current trials for hardiness. Okay, and that's September 20th, 2020. That's that same bed that you saw already with my whole rock star. So this is how it looks. 1-year-old seedlings. The morning after, about 17 degrees. And I don't know that any of these made that cut on there. And that's very typical. So you might ask, what do I do with those plants, right? So amazingly, these all leaf right back out the following year. They'll sometime be only 1 inch tall from the ground. The root systems are fine. And so we continue to look for more. Sometimes as they get a little older, they'll express some cold hardiness that wasn't expressed in the first year they're alive. And of course, we use them for rootstocks, principally. We'll graft to them because the roots are fine. So this particular plant, out of 35,000, this particular plant is the only one that has never shown any damage from late frost, early frost, or 25 below. And so that's my baby. It is a male, which some people say, oh, it's too bad. But I say, oh, thank heavens. Because today, you can't see them here, but I have eliminated every other male anywhere on my property, and there's maybe 40 3 and 5 gallon females stuffed underneath that plant when it was producing pollen, in the attempts to get seed that will have the genetics from that one plant. And that is also, that plant came from Donald Compton from that batch that said, these make good rootstocks. That might be the last slide. Maybe there's one more. That's it. That's it. And that, in a nutshell, is it. I bet I have time for questions.
So, are the leaves, when they experience that cold temperature in the fall, holding green, is that related to wood hardening or lack of hardening? Are those ones that stay green prone to actually extending from a very terminal?
They have hardened off ahead of the majority.
Interesting.
It's earlier hardening is what it is. And that's what I'm looking for in that instance. And same thing, I think the more damage, for me, there's more damage at 17 degrees on September 20th than at 25 below in February. I think many of these plants, a lot of these plants are pretty good once they've hardened off good. It's just coming into dormancy or going out of dormancy.
Do you know anything about the parentage of your cold rock star persimmon?
Yeah, so no, other than it came from Donald Compton's orchard, which is...
Buzz, summarize the question and just...
Oh yeah, so do I know anything about the parentage of my cold rock star? It came from Donald Compton's orchard, which I know all his trees are the ones he's bred. They're all good, but he sent me that mixed bag of this will be good for rootstocks, right? And that's all I know on that one.
And where is he located?
Donald Compton is in Marengo, Indiana.
Is this breeding you're doing going to result in cultivars that can ripen in short seasons?
That's the goal. That's the goal. We only have to go one zone warmer. There's 5, in zone 5B, we get ripening.
One more question.
Back there?
Are there any seed lots besides the rootstock from Donald Compton that
show a higher percentage of good seedlings?
Hardiness. Good seedlings and hardiness are two different things, right? Yeah. Yeah, so that's a great question. So I have collected from all of the orchards that we know about, Claypool, Donald Compton, Jerry Lehman, John Hershey, on and on and on. And so in general, it is a very mixed bag. However, there are two cultivars that as individual cultivars show much higher hardiness. One is called Hess, which is an almost unknown one from John Gordon that Donald Compton happens to have one copy of, which I finally got grafted. But that particular one shows a very high percentage, 3 to 5% instead of 1%. And then there's one in Hershey Blue, probably the cultivar Berman, which is significantly hardier in general. That is the only one, and I've tried all of the normal favorites that we all eat and love, and those are the only two I've found. They're not going to let me answer any more questions. You can catch me later.